It was maybe 9 years ago when we met. You were coming into the coffee shop. I was doing an event at Urban Grind, and you were having a meeting with some people, and you just liked the vibe and the energy, and you said, what is it that you do? And I told you a little bit about that, and you said, I think I want to have you on my show. And you invited me onto your show. This was back when it was Instinct Radio, and you were doing your show there. Shouts out to Jack Trey, right? Station owner and still doing what he does, right? And so you invited me, and I caught the bug. You had myself, the Green Twin Sisters, right? And they're models now, and you had some other people, and I just loved your energy and just how you were all about community and women, just really about people, and you were just really good. And so here I am 8 years later, Regina, and it's all your fault because I caught the bug from you, and I've been doing it ever since. So thank you so much. I'm so tickled. Thank you for just opening me up to something that I've always wanted to do. So thank you.
You're welcome. Well, you were supposed to be in that seat.
Thank you.
So
thank you. You see why you're sunshine? Everybody loves the sunshine. How have you been, Regina? How have you been?
Michelle, I am finding my way back. I have been off the scene for a couple of years. Not everybody knows, but I lost both of my parents at the end of 2022 within 27 days of each other.
Oh my goodness.
And it has been a battle to find my way back.
Yeah.
I pulled back just to take care of me and my family.
Right.
But the timing of this interview is so perfect because I am launching a couple new projects in the next 30 days to get Regina Sunshine back to where she's supposed to be.
Yes. And I appreciate you for sharing that, and my condolences about your parents. You're always about family and friends, and you've always had that energy. So I want to take it to the beginning. Regina, where are you from?
I'm from a little town called Tabor City, North Carolina. It's about 2,000 people. Okay. Whenever I was in high school, I was like the only Black person in advanced classes. That should tell you, tiny, small town America.
Right.
So yeah, that's where I started.
Is it near another bigger city that we might be more familiar, like Rocky Mount or Warrenton, or what? Where is it near?
Wilmington, North Carolina is an hour away.
Okay.
Most people know Wilmington.
Yes. So childhood, you just a great kid, of course. You're a great woman. So I'm assuming you weren't a handful when you were a kid, right, Regina? You did what you were supposed to do. You excelled. You achieved. Come on, you were twinkling since you were little.
I'm the oldest of the kids who were raised in the house with my parents. I was always the leader, the second mama. That's what my mama used to say, I think I'm the mama.
Yeah.
So I've always been that person. You're right. I excelled in high school, president of my senior class, all that stuff. Just knew from an early age that I was different. I mean, it was always apparent. I always felt like I didn't fit in. I just knew I was supposed to be doing great things. And I remember having a conversation with my mother in the 7th grade. It's one of those that stand out forever. And I told her, I said, Mama, I just want to be like everybody else. And her words to me was, suck it up, you're not like everybody else.
That's right. I love it. And
right after that, she softened her tone and she said, Regina, God has created you for great things, and you can't be like everybody else. So you need to just go ahead and accept that they're just going to be a different journey for you from everybody else. So that's been my life.
And Regina, did you feel, I know it's inspiring now as we look back, right? We're older, we're mature women, and we understand that those words were just to really help us excel. But did you feel any power, like, oh my God, like, did you feel any pressure? Like, oh my goodness, I have this mandate or maybe this purpose on me that I got to fulfill. Did you feel that at the time when Mom said that?
Always felt that. I've always felt that way. And so the words my mother spoke resonated with me because I knew they were true. But it was heavy at times because I did just want to be like everybody else, but I didn't see the world like everybody else did. You know, I tell people all the time, I've always seen hurting people. That has always stuck out to me. Those situations that I could go and help and make better, they've always been on my mind. So I couldn't run from who I was. But it's heavy at times.
It is. Do you remember how old you were when Mom had made that declaration or gave you those pieces of
Like
wisdom?
12.
Wow. That's really early.
Always knew. She always
Mm,
knew. I mean, she is. I look back now at cards and notes. My mother was a big card sender, words
yeah.
of affirmation,
Yes.
right? And so
Yes.
I've got cards for years
Mm,
of cards from her. It's always been the same message. I thank God He gave me, gave you to me. You're my golden child. You're going to do great things. I mean,
yeah.
it's always been. That's just what I know my life to be. I don't know anything different.
Yeah, yeah. And you word so well, Regina. And so I wanna kind of move the pieces on the board just a little bit because now you have this mantle on you like a leader, right? Things to help people connect the dots in a positive way, like implement change, which for most human beings that's a difficult thing. Maybe we know it's time for change. We don't know how to get it going. We don't know how to begin. And I've always saw you as a person that knew how to help people find their way or help them get their hands on the tools that they need in order for them to get where they need to go. So I want to ask, we're in this beautiful small community in North Carolina. How did we get to Atlanta?
So I went to school at North Carolina A&T, Aggie
Aggie Pride.
All right, A&T Aggie, baby. Yeah, and I studied chemical engineering there.
Mm-hmm.
Met my college sweetheart, who was a chemical engineer as well. Married, had a family.
Yeah.
That didn't work. We were together for over 20 years, but
Wow.
I ended up leaving and coming to Atlanta.
Wow.
I came with my son Gabriel. He came to train as an MMA fighter, and I always tell people I came to Atlanta to help make Gabriel's dreams come true, and then all my dreams came true.
Yes.
So that's how I ended up here, and just was here being a mama, trying to help him pursue this fight dream, and kept meeting amazing people. And when I say God just kept dropping opportunities out of the sky into my life, I mean, meeting people that led me to Moot B, that led me to Jack Trey, just these, you see now, you look back now, you can kind of see it, but when you're walking and you don't know where you're going.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you got to Atlanta, it seems like your purpose, the calling on your life got a little louder, a little clearer for what you to do. And you saw the hands of God just kind of put things together for you and order your steps as you were continuing to do some things.
Absolutely. Well, before coming to Atlanta, I've worked in women's ministry for years. I've ministered in prisons and domestic violence shelters. I've always been, working with people in the community. But when I came to Atlanta, there was one meeting. I met one person that introduced me to Moot B, which is how I met Jack Trey. And that transition from being in ministry and being a motivational speaker and all that connection where I then went into media was the big shift, because that opened up so many other doors. So it's interesting, like you say, you meet one person that can change your life. That's what happened to me.
That's what happened. And you resonate so well in the media space, Regina. Again, just a huge inspiration. You had a weekly show when I met you, right, at InSync. You were doing it what was it, every Monday, I think? It was every Monday, and you got different guests or different community leaders or pastors or women or just different people doing different things every single week, having these conversations. And it was just amazing. And you were just like on fire. It was just like, man. And did you still have a professional job as well as doing the media piece at that time?
I did. I was an educator.
Yes.
Back when I was still with my husband, I actually was a college math instructor. And so when I came to Atlanta, I continued, but working at different, spaces for education. So during that time I was, and in fact, a lot of people don't know, I had a show on an AM station in Greenwood, South Carolina. So I would do the show Monday in Atlanta with Instinct Radio. I would drive up Tuesday morning to Greenwood, South Carolina. I would teach class. And then Wednesday, I would be on the air in South Carolina on the AM station, come back here and do it all again every week.
Wow. I didn't know that. I didn't know you were driving to South Carolina and doing that. I want to ask you, Regina, did you share with me, if you could, some of the challenges you might have faced? Did you feel that there was some resistance for you as a woman in media trying to really push this positive narrative? Because things were starting to change, right? We were starting to get social media coming along and people were using that space to communicate different things. Did you find it to be challenging for you at all in your space?
Wasn't.
Okay, good.
One thing I could say, and shout out to Jack Trey.
Mm-hmm.
Jack Trey absolutely gave me the space to just be Regina Sunshine.
Yeah.
I didn't have to be anybody else. I didn't have to try and, fit in this niche or that one or try to get this number of hits or views or whatever. He just told me, just be Regina Sunshine.
Right.
And the freedom to be me, right?
Yes.
And to do the show the way I wanted to do it and just continue to follow my purpose, but through media.
Right.
There was no pushback. I'm telling you, for a period of time, I was soaring. And only because I knew I was where I was supposed to be. And it was beautiful. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed every moment of it.
And that's a show he did himself. Like, he produced your show.
He did.
He produced your show. Shouts out to Jack Trey. We like Jack Trey. But he did at the time and still does have a variety of different types of shows, so he doesn't discriminate or box people in or out. He's like, if this is what you want to do, come on in, this is what you do, and I'm gonna produce your show, I'm gonna help you, I'm gonna give you the space to do what you need to do. But he loved doing your show because it was so inspirational. And I think he was always excited and impressed by the type of guests you were always able to bring in and have these conversations, not once a month, but every week. That's a hard thing to do, Regina. So how long did you have that particular platform at NSYNC?
I don't even know how many years it was.
Wow. Years. Let's just emphasize it was years.
I don't even know how many years it was. Because as I mentioned, I started out on New Radio with Mook B.
Yeah.
Him and Jack were partners in the beginning. That's where I met Jack Trey. And when Jack left, the famous conversation, he says, I'm leaving to start another station for you. Yeah. And when you're ready, I'll be here.
I know that's right. And so then when do we get to, you're an author. So when did the book come along? Talk a little bit about your book too, Regina.
First book is Regina Sunshine State of Mind, 7 Keys to Help You Get Your Mind Right.
See?
And I actually wrote that in the gap between when I left New Radio and when I started my show at Instinct Radio.
Yes.
It was a period of time where God cleared my calendar. I was supposed to write this book years before, and it was like my whole calendar was cleared, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? And I heard, write the book. And I said, okay, I'll write the book. And so I wrote the book. The moment I finished the book, I had the conversation with Jack Trey. I started my show at Instinct Radio. And so that's how that happened. So it was like everything was purpose. I look at it now and I see how it was all lined up, right?
Yeah.
And so that book is my coaching on creating a positive mental attitude.
Yes.
Renewing your mind. What does that look like in real time every day with life and everything that's going on around us? Yes. That's what that book was addressing, because people always say, well, you're always so positive and happy. And I'm like, this is not by accident. This doesn't just happen every day. It started with my mother, who spoke life over me and into me every day. I heard my whole life, Regina, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're amazing, you're going to do great things. And when you walk around the world having heard that so much, you really feel invincible. I can do these things that are in front of me. And so that, again, was not by accident. I was programmed that way. My mind was programmed to think that way. And I just, over the years, found myself sharing and teaching that with other people. And I just decided to put it in book form because it was something people needed to hear.
Awesome. Do you consider yourself a coach as well? You're a life coach. You're coaching people.
I'm an empowerment coach. I am very much. It's interesting. I find the main areas I coach in right now are purpose, helping people determine their purpose, which leads to my second book, which is going to be released at Status Network on December the 7th.
I love it. Congratulations.
Thank you. The name of this book is Chasing Sunshine, Finding My Way Back to the Light. Because I find we're all chasing something. We're chasing this idea, this dream. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And it's all tied to the purpose that's inside of us. And we all have a purpose. It's inside of us already. We just got to dig deep and discover what that is. Yeah. And so that book is about my journey for finding my purpose, but also the same coaching that I help other people to determine their purpose as well.
Yeah, I got to get my hands on that book because, Regina, that's always been, I have to say, a nagging question, I think, in most people. I think most people do want to make a difference, right? I think really inside of us, and especially with our faith, or just in general, just being a human being, you say you don't want your living in vain, right?
Absolutely.
You want to be able to leave something behind. You don't want to suck up everything and didn't pay it forward, or didn't help someone or something do greater works than you did, right? So it's, again, that's the framework in which we have as believers. Greater work shall we do, right? Mm-hmm. So we're trying to understand and embrace it and then move it forward, but there's no clarity, right, for some of us, because it's this imposter syndrome, it's this we're not worthy, or we listen, what I do is not a big deal, anybody can do it. We don't really understand our talents or our giftings, and so hearing your perspective is going to be really powerful, because we're in this space. We do what we do, but we don't want to be complacent. Do we do it out of habit? Do we do it because we're comfortable? We know how to do it? How do we get to this next level or this next chapter? What does that look like, right? And the sand in the hourglass, Regina, is going like this. It's moving, right? This year is almost done. And so we don't have a lot of time to waste. So we're trying to figure this out while we still have breath in our body and we're still able to pivot and turn and be flexible. So it is a question for some of us that won't go away, but we continue to do what we know what to do until we get a word or some kind of confirmation. Because after you don't know you just stand, right, Regina?
Absolutely. Well, you know what's interesting is when you mention doing things out of habit, just doing what you know how to do, so often you're drawn to those things because they're tied to your purpose or why you're here. It's just not clear to you. But if you ask the right questions and you dig in the right places, you will find out that a lot of the things that you're naturally gifted at, the things that you're drawn to do over and over again, the things that are just a part of who you are tied to your purpose. And sometimes you just need a little direction, right?
Yeah.
Helping you put it together. And that's what the book is about, just asking you those questions, because no one can tell you. They can confirm what they believe your purpose is. But God has put it inside of you. You know, when you hear it, when you hear it for sure, you'll know that's why I'm here. And I had a moment like that. I was at a church service in Greenwood, South Carolina, many years ago. I've been asking that question, right? Lord, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And I had an idea, and I had been asked to do some things that it felt right? It felt right, but I wasn't sure. I was at the altar, and I will never forget Tracy Stewart, an evangelist from Florence, South Carolina. She's praying, right? Normally, people get to me and they pray and they move on. I never get a word, Michelle. Everybody else get a word. I don't get a word. She got to me and she stopped. And she stepped back, she looked at me, she said, more than anyone here, God has gifted you with the ability to lift the heads of the brokenhearted, to heal those that are bruised. She said, and you stand here wondering what you're supposed to be doing and if you're on the right track. I will never forget it. Forget this moment. And it was confirmation. So I knew, right? I felt something, but when she said it, it rang so true in my spirit. And I was like, okay, God, I got you. Let's go.
Yeah, you was ready to go. I want to ask you, Regina, where'd you get the nickname Sunshine? Where did that come from? Did that come from Mom? Where did that come from?
It actually came from a student in Greenwood, South Carolina. I was teaching at Piedmont Technical College. And he told me, he said, you're like sunshine. He said, everything's better when you're around. And so he started calling me that. And then the other students started calling me that. And it just took off. And for a while, I ran from the nickname because I felt like it was me edifying myself or me saying that I was this or that, you know. And my son looked at me one day and he said, you better stop running. That's your name. That is who you are.
Yes. Come on, Gabriel. Was it Gabriel? Gabriel said, come on, Mama. You are sunshine. You are that to me and to everybody else. I want to ask you this, Regina, because again, on the outside looking in, right, we always see this beautiful, vibrant, powerful, inspirational person. And so it touches my heart to hear you say you're finding your way back. So can you share with us a little bit what had happened in your journey that you felt that you weren't this ray of sunshine, or you needed to step back and work on some things? Share with us if you can.
Was the grief. So most of 2022 I spent in North Carolina. Okay. We were expecting my father to pass away, and I didn't think my mother could survive it, honestly. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't want to be in Georgia trying to get to her if something happens to him. Mm-hmm. And so I was there, and her health started to decline as well. And so then she ended up passing away on November 17th, 2022. And like I said, in 27 days after she passed away, my father passed away. Mm-hmm. And it was like somebody knocked the wind out of me. I mean, it was literally like my world got turned upside down. And so I'm the oldest, and I had a baby sister that was in a senior in high school. I got to get her graduated, right? We got to get through prom, we got to get through graduation. Right. And so I was so focused on making sure my family was okay, because we were all hurting. Honestly, we were all turned upside down. Mm-hmm. And so I had to step back, because there was no way I could give outside of my inner circle right then. Right. Everything I had to give to them for us to be okay. And in the process there of also getting my own mental health back together. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you something. My mother was the center of our universe. When I say she was the original sunshine, I spoke in her service, and I called the title of my talk was Love Personified. She was love on fire, baby. And everything I knew about loving people and serving people and just being the sunshine, I learned from her. And so there was a period of time where I didn't know who I was. I was like, who am I without my mama? Mm-hmm. Honestly, who am I? Yeah. And the first dream I had about her after she passed, in her dream, she said, baby, you know who you are. Mm-hmm. Yeah. She said, baby, you know who you are. Right. And so I knew I still needed time. I hired a grief coach. Yes. Phenomenal woman, helped me a lot. Mm-hmm. Gave myself the time and space to make sure I was okay. Mm-hmm. And for the last, I'd say 5 to 6 months, I've been working on projects to kind of come back to where I know I'm supposed to be. The blessing is that now when there are people who have been through what I've been through, I can speak from a place of experience and helping others. So the next part of this journey for me is helping people who have found themselves facing some major trauma or setback, and they're trying to figure out, how do I find my way back? And I can share how me and others like me have found my way back. So that's where I am.
Wow. The timing is so good. And thank you for sharing that. As we get older, we are in this space where we'll have to say goodbye to people that we love, whether it is suddenly or just the course of nature, right? Life starts and then it ends. And we're in that space that some of us are caregivers for our parents. Some of our parents are still doing well, but we keep an eye on them, right? They are getting up there in numbers. They're in their 80s and things of that nature. And, as kids, we've never envisioned our parents in this state of being, right? And so it's a reality check for us. Like, we are really adulting. we are really adulting here. And so, and still, kids are on one side, and, it's a lot of balancing and things like that. And so, thank you so much for just being brave enough and not being afraid to go through this journey and share it with us, because it is another chapter that some of us will have to experience, and we won't have any idea, Regina, what to do. Listen, in our communities, we were already dealing with mental illness or wellness. Let me say mental wellness, and being able to be comfortable in saying, I think I need to talk to somebody. I'm dealing with some things. And so grief is something we really don't talk about. People are, put their hands on their shoulders on him, say, well, how long are you going to be sad about? And you can't put an expiration on that, because it is love trying to find a place where to go. Am I right, Regina?
Somewhere. And that is it. It's love trying to find a place to go. Yeah. And and one thing that has been a blessing for me, I'm one of 5 girls. me and my sisters are extremely close, and we're very transparent about how we're feeling. We talk to each other about everything.
Right.
And I'm so thankful for that space, right? Because with them, I don't have to be Regina Sunshine. I'm just Regina. I'm just their sister. And one of the reasons I pulled away for a period of time is because the world does expect me to show up a particular way. I'm supposed to show up as Regina Sunshine. And I knew for now, I didn't have that. I didn't have enough for them. I had enough for me and my people.
Right.
And I had to make sure we were okay. It was funny. I was telling my sister Pam, I said, you know, most people look at us and they think, well, we're surprised that you guys didn't lose your minds. And Pam said, well, maybe we're all crazy and we don't know because we're crazy together.
Yay, Pam. That's a good point. We like that. Let me ask you this, Regina, because again, I said at the top of this conversation how much I'm grateful for you and how much I admire you. But you did bring a great point. People have a certain expectation of public figures, especially when you are the light of the room. You are the sunshine, you bring joy. And so they have a problem when you are not what they expect you to be. Do you find it difficult to just be honest and say no? Or do you say, well, I got to be this way because I don't want to disappoint? How do you really manage that, Regina? Because it's a real thing.
With the no. I don't, almost saying, I don't have it right now.
I got you.
And that's what I had to do. You know, most people, until I saw Jack's trade this past Sunday, I stopped by Status. It's the first time I've seen Jack since maybe 2021, 2022.
Really?
Most people have not seen me. I had to do what I had to do for me. And I knew in order to survive and be able to come back, right, that I had to take care of me first. So I wasn't concerned about telling people no. I stayed out the way. You understand me?
Yeah.
I wasn't out here to be seen, if that makes sense, because I knew I wasn't ready. And I was not going to put that pressure on me because I already knew if I walked through the door of an event, if I show up somewhere, the pressure's there. They're ready. They want me to be, turn it on, flip switch, baby, be Regina Sunshine. And I wasn't going to be that. So I'm not even going to put myself in that space and have that happen. Now, I will tell you, there was a point where I thought I would walk away from all of it, from all the work that I've done at the beginning of 2024. I called my uncle because I had this thought. I'm going to buy a beach house. I'm going to go sit on the deck and I'm going to watch the ocean and just chill for the rest of my life. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
And I called my mom's baby brother, Pastor Ronald Alford, calling, checking on her siblings for the new year, right?
Yeah.
And within 2 minutes of the conversation, he said, hope you don't think you're going to go somewhere and just sit and stare off in space for the rest of your life and do nothing. I was like, sir, I feel attacked. I mean, it was like he started reading my mail, as they said, so fast.
You needed that.
It was like, Regina, he's like, it's not over. He said, it's time to get up, baby. It's time to get up. He said, you still got work to do. And I couldn't do nothing but cry because I'd already made up my mind. You know, this is it. I'm tired. I'm tired. My people are okay. I seem to be okay. I'm just going to rest. I've done enough. But I knew when you hear the truth, when when somebody tells you the truth that resonates with you, I knew it. And he said, and I just need you to get yourself together. He said, take the time you need, figure out what you're going to do. He said, but it's not over. He said, there's still work to do.
Good for Pastor. We appreciate Uncle telling you those prophetic words. Regina, do you feel that you're ready now? How are you feeling? Are you feeling now is the time?
I do.
You do?
I allow myself the space to not be okay. There is, as you said before, this pressure from people for you to get over grief or get over trauma or whatever you've been and just move on. But once you've been changed, I will never be who I was before my parents passed. I'll never be exactly that person again. I'm finding a new way, right, of being. And so I give myself permission to have those days where I'm not okay. If I'm not okay, my son always, because I tell him the same thing. He said, Mom, just take that L for the day. Just take a day. And I'm okay with that. Right. In the past, I wouldn't have been because I was so driven on achievement and doing and being. But I found a new way, and it is more purpose driven. And part of being purpose driven is taking care of Regina. Yeah, I would take care of other people to the point of exhaustion before, and I would put me on the back burner. But I cannot be who God has called me to be. And I cannot do all the things he's called me to do if I don't take care of me.
I know that's right.
So some days I'm not okay. It is November the 3rd. My mother passed. It'll be 2 years on November 17th. I already know these next couple of weeks are going to be hard. Okay. Yeah. I accept that. So I'll do what I can. And when I can't, I take a step back and I rest. I just don't quit. That's the difference. I just don't quit.
Good for you, Regina. Good for you. I think you're still achieving, and I think you're still successful. It just looks different.
It looks different.
It's different because you're a different person and you're a different place in your life. And there are different drivers for you now. Again, you want to help people maneuver through this type of experience that you've gone through. This is a different message than you had when I first met you, right? You were in a different position life-wise. And so it's just a realistic shift and change because that's where you are in your life right now.
It is. But the message is still the same. It's just from a different perspective.
Yes.
So before it was still about purpose, right? And, having a positive mental attitude and all those things. I have a different perspective now because those things I taught people, those steps, that prayer, that meditation, that reading the Bible, that speaking life, all those things are so much more important now that I've been through the trauma than they've ever been. So the message is the same. It's just that now I really have to put it to practice to be able to do what I'm supposed to do.
Gotcha. Finding My Way Back is a newsletter. You still going to give us that newsletter? How are we going to work with that? What are we doing?
Yes, I do have the Finding My Way Back newsletter on LinkedIn. Of course, I have the book coming out, Chasing Sunshine, Finding My Way Back to the Light. And the next project, in partnership with Voyage Media, I'm releasing a mini series called Finding My Way Back with Regina Sunshine. We've already done the first season. In fact, again, on December the 7th at Status Network, I will be launching the book and the mini series. And there's one other really big announcement that will be saved for that day.
Oh, I was leaning in, Regina, to try to get it today. Man. Sunshine after the storm. Come on. Are we gonna get back in the space where we do this type of stuff? I miss you doing this stuff. Come on. Okay. All right.
On the horizon.
It's on.
We'll say this. I am more hopeful right now than I have been since my parents passed. I see it. For a while there, I couldn't see. I wondered how could I continue to do things on the level that I did them. And in the last 30 days, it's been revealed. And I'm so excited because it won't take, I remember I heard a minister say once, sweatless. The victory is being sweatless. You see it being sweatless this time because it's more purpose driven. Before it was just in so much, right? I was doing so much because I loved it. And if it was good work, I felt like I was supposed to be there doing it. And I had a mentor of mine tell me once that all good work is not God's work for you. All good work is not God's work for you. She said, you so busy doing everything that's good that you're not fulfilling God's purpose for you. And that's where I am now. I hone in on if it's part of my purpose, then I do it. If it's not, it can be good work. I can support it, but I'm not wearing myself thin doing it.
You know what? Thank you for that confirmation because I was feeling that way too. Because sometimes you're running around doing this good work, I'm air quoting this good work, but it doesn't align with what you're supposed to be doing. So it's, you got to be brave enough to say no and just, people may not like it, but that's where you got to be. Yeah. I know. You got to do what's right. You have to align because we don't really have a lot of time. So it's got to make sense. I want to ask you from a media perspective, how are you coming up with topics? Like what made you come up with some of the conversations you were having, the guests? I know that was a whole job in itself. How were you able to manage all that stuff?
Say it was easy, but for me it was. Okay. And let me tell you why.
All right.
My perspective on the Regina Sunshine show was this. It wasn't a show. It was a conference online. That's how I approached it. I said, if I was going to book a conference in a coliseum, what topics would I talk about? Yeah. What speakers would I have on the stage? And then I went and found those speakers. Mm-hmm. So that's how I saw it. I saw it as a conference that I was putting on every Monday.
Wow. Awesome. Awesome. Do you see yourself in this next wave or chapter of your life being more syndicated? Are you going to be on multiple platforms or cities, or you haven't?
You keep asking this question in multiple different ways, don't you?
All right. That's the last time I'm going to ask it.
There's something coming, and we'll share on December the 7th. We want to kind of wait for that space to put it out there. But there, I did think that maybe I was done in front of the camera,
right?
But I'm not.
You're not done. You're not done. Are you still an educator too, Regina? Are you still teaching the minds of others?
Do some tutoring. I'm full-time. I've been full-time in business since 2017. Mm-hmm. So, for a while there, I wasn't in the education space at all. And I went to a conference. I was a speaker at a conference, ran into my old boss, the dean of the School of Education. And she was like, Regina, you still teaching? And I was like, no. I said, I'm doing all this other stuff. And she was like, you're too great a math teacher not to be teaching. She said, these students need you. So I do have some students that I tutor on the side, because I do love teaching math so much. Oh, but outside of that, everything I'm doing right now is publishing, coaching, media. That's where I'm making most of my money and spending most of my time.
Awesome. Because of this, the things that have been happening, have your coaches or people that mentor you been the same, or you've gotten some new mentors? Who's speaking into you these days?
I mentioned my grief coach. Mm-hmm. There's an organization, Destiny's Daughters of Promise. I lead their girls empowerment sessions. Yeah. And even through all the time my parents passing, I will say those girls were, there was a great place to be, because they made me feel like I had purpose during that time. But every year we have a girls to women leadership symposium. Mm-hmm. And one of our speakers was my grief coach. And first of all, I didn't want to be there. I'm saying the first event I've been to since my mother passed, I didn't want to be in the room. Right. I went because my baby sister, was graduating. She was one of our girls, and she was getting a scholarship check that day. I went for her. I know I was there for me too now, because once she began to speak and shared how she had lost her mother and how she had to figure out how to still be, who she had been, she's a college, educator. She's a business owner. She's podcast, all these things. And I was like, yes, yeah, you, I need you, because you've been through what I've been through. Right. And somehow you have found a way to continue doing those things that are purposeful. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, as soon as they went to break, I ran straight to this woman's table. Within minutes, I was in her arms crying. This is beyond, I was blubbering. Yeah. Yeah. But she really just gave me so many tools to help me on this journey. So having her around, my former business coach, Lanita Mitchell-Blackwell, those two women for sure have during this time spoken so much into me and over me and helped me stay encouraged through what could have been, I could have ended up somewhere else. Michelle, let's just be honest. I could have. There were days, I'm gonna say this and be really, really transparent and vulnerable, because somebody needs to hear this. Okay. There wasn't a time where I wanted to take my life. Let's say that. Okay. Let's be clear. But there were some days where I was so low that if a major health attack had come on me, I didn't have the strength to fight for my life. I didn't. I was low. Yeah. And so I'm thankful for the people who stayed close and who continue to speak life into me until I could speak it over myself.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. What is the one thing, Regina, you want people to remember you by?
That I loved people. And I say that because that's how I remember my mother. She loved people. When I say she was love personified, I tell people all the time I am who I am because of who she was. And if I can be remembered the way she's being remembered, that's one of the highest compliments to me.
It's beautiful. Beautiful. I love your transparency. I have been wanting to spend time with you for some time. And you said, Michelle, don't give up on me. Just don't give up. And I said, nope, I won't. And I'm so appreciative of your time. How can the people find you? If they want to connect, if they want to coach, if they want to be mentored, if they want to get a hold of your first book, if they want to be on the wait list on the new book, if they want to follow you on media, how can they find you, Regina?
You can find me at reginasunshine.com. There's contact spaces there where you can reach out if you want to code. All of the links to my social media in that one place, just reginasunshine.com. And I want to say this, Michelle. I'm so thankful for you and your energy. You hadn't heard from me, and you reached out to me. And that meant a lot to me because there was a part of me that wondered if people had forgotten about Regina Sunshine.
Nope. Unforgettable.
Pulled so far back that I had removed myself, but then there was still this question: when I come back, how will I be received?
Yeah.
And I'm so thankful for you, for reaching out to me, for always being this beautiful, bright light, this beautiful, your energy is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I always love being around you. So I just want to thank you. And I pray God continues to bless you, and you continue to be the bright light that you are, and continue to, throw out that rope of hope, because that's what it was. Because it was, she still remembers me. I know it might sound crazy, right? But when you're in a low place, I always tell people, when somebody's name crosses your mind, reach out. There's a reason their name has crossed your mind. You don't know what they need in that moment. And it's just sometimes that somebody thought about me.
All the time.
That, that I'm still here.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You're very welcome. Listen, I understand how it is when you are a person that pours into other people's cups all the time, that oftentimes people think you're all right. You don't need it. And I try to be obedient. When your name comes across me, I'm going to reach out. I'm going to touch you. I saw some things moving on Facebook for you. I was like, I wanted to congratulate you. I see you. But your deposits outweighed whatever you were currently in. And I didn't know, but I felt like you had always given to community and to people, that you were worthy of a hi, how you doing? You were worthy of that. And I would not be here, Regina, if you had not extended the invitation to me to be on your show. And I wanted to extend it back to you, because you're just a wonderful and beautiful person. You are the sunshine, and everybody loves the sunshine. And so if there's anything that I can do on my platform, in my space, to continue to echo your sentiments, or whatever it is that I can do, because we're all at the end of the day in this together. We just have maybe a different strategy or approach, but we definitely don't want to leave the world unchanged, right? We want to leave it a little better than how we came into it. I think is really how it is at the end of the day. And so we can help somebody eliminate some of the stuff we had to go through or witness, then that's really what it's about, right? Trying to help them with some positive shortcuts or techniques or some tools or affirmations, right? Things to help them, give them hope, because sometimes we do feel hopeless, but it's still there. It's always there. We just have to get repositioned, or get that right word or confirmation, or understand that God is not forgot. He is not forgotten.
Sometimes it's just what you said. It's just knowing that you're not forgotten, that you matter, that somebody cares about you. Sometimes somebody just needs to know that somebody cares.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That somebody cares, that that I feel seen, I feel heard, that I matter. And there are a lot of people, Michelle, that don't feel that.
I know.
And I know that part of the purpose for me and for you, because I see it in you, is to make people feel heard and seen and loved, and that they matter, and that their life matters. So absolutely, I thank you so much for this platform and the opportunity. Girl, you keep doing it. Me and Jack were talking about you Sunday. He was like, this is the longest running show that I have.
I know. I'm super excited. And again, it's people like you, Regina, that give me hope in this space. And I tell my producer, Joe, I tell him all the time, no, I'm going to keep doing this. And then he'll say to me, Michelle, you making a difference. And if I could touch one person, I've always said that, then it's worth it, right? And so I want to wish you all the continued success. I am so grateful you are here. You're with us. I am so glad you have vision. You're receiving clarity. You know what direction you're wanting to go into. We're excited for next month in December when you make these announcements and lay all the cards on the table and tell us what's going on. I'm going to be plugged in because I want to hear it firsthand. I'm always excited with the work that you're doing, and it is an inspiration to all of us. I want to say thank you. Thank you for being Regina Sunshine Robinson. We love you. We thank you for everything that you've done. And your living is nowhere near in vain. And I have to agree with Uncle. You have some more work to do. So fasten your seatbelts. Take the rest you need. Pop in some vitamins. Drink some water. But come on, let's go. We got to go. We got things we got to do.
An invitation to the event. I want you to, if you're available, I want you to be in the house that day. It's going to be special.
I appreciate that so much. Listen, this is my time. Thank you so much, Regina Sunshine. I love you and ain't nothing you can do about it. This is my time. You know me, Real Chicks Rock. I'm everywhere. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. Go to the website, realchicksrock.com. Subscribe. Sign up. Go to the YouTube channel. You don't want to miss the next episode because we are still here. We're still pushing out good content, good shows. You don't want to miss it. We love you. Listen, before I go, I want to leave you with this. May you live to be 100 and I live to be 100 minus a day. So I would never know that beautiful people like you had passed away. Until next time, be well, take care, and continue to rock on. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.